Imagine waking up in a world where every single decision you make feels like a matter of life and death. Your inbox is overflowing, your calendar is double booked, and somehow, despite working harder than ever, you feel like you're spinning your wheels, going nowhere fast. Now imagine someone walks up to you, pauses your chaos, and calmly says, "You can do anything, but not everything." That moment, simple, clear, almost rebellious, is the essence of a revolution that starts not with more effort, but with less. This is the world of essentialism. Hello, I am Bharat, and welcome to Audiofybooks, where you will find excellent audio summaries of books in a very easy and interesting way. If you want to learn from new books, do subscribe to the channel. Let's get started with today's book. The journey into essentialism begins with a single, radical question. What if we stopped trying to do it all? What if success didn't come from saying yes to every opportunity, but from the courage to say no? Greg McKeown doesn't just propose this question, he lives it, studies it, and shows us why it's not only necessary, but urgent in a world that worships hustle. At the heart of this philosophy is a simple truth that punches you in the gut the moment you realize it. If you don't choose where your time and energy go, someone else will. Greg opens with a story, one that many of us can relate to. He was invited to a crucial client meeting just hours after his wife gave birth. And instead of saying, "No, I need to be with my family," he went. He thought he was being responsible, committed, a professional. But deep down, he knew he had failed in something far more important, prioritizing what mattered most. That moment haunted him and became the catalyst for his entire philosophy. He realized he was caught in what he calls the undisciplined pursuit of more, a trap so many of us live in without even realizing it. Essentialism is about escaping that trap. But it's not about getting more done in less time. That's efficiency. This is different. It's about getting only the right things done. It's a disciplined, systematic way to determine where your highest point of contribution lies, and then doing only that. Let's picture life as a pie chart. Most people try to do everything. They slice that chart into 50 tiny slivers, each representing a different task, obligation, or project. The result? Tiny progress in a million directions. But an essentialist draws one bold line outward, one large arrow pointing toward what matters. The same energy, but focused like a laser instead of scattered like a flashlight. The core of essentialism is clarity, clarity of purpose, clarity of priority, clarity of action. And that starts with the ability to choose. Greg reminds us that choice is a privilege. We've forgotten that. When we say yes to everything, we're handing over that privilege to others. The essentialist reclaims it. They ask, what is the one thing I can do that will make everything else either easier or irrelevant? That question is power. It cuts through the noise like a scalpel. But recognizing what's essential isn't always easy, especially in a culture that glamorizes busy. We wear it like a badge of honor. How are you doing? Busy. As if that's a virtue. But busyness is not the same as importance. An essentialist knows that being busy is often a sign of not being clear. So they pause. They create space to think. Think about that. When was the last time you scheduled time to just think? Greg shares how some of the most successful people in the world, like Jeff Weiner, former CEO of LinkedIn, literally block out time on their calendars to think. It's not wasted time. It's necessary. Essentialists protect their focus like their life depends on it, because in a way, it does. And that brings us to one of the most powerful tools in the essentialist's toolkit, the graceful no. Saying no is hard. It feels rude, selfish, even risky. What if people get upset? What if we miss out? But Greg teaches us that every yes we say is a trade-off. When we say yes to something small and trivial, we're often saying no to something deeply meaningful without even realizing it. So he challenges us to pause before we commit, to ask, is this a clear yes or a vague maybe? Because if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. Saying no doesn't mean being a jerk. In fact, Greg gives us examples of how to say no gracefully, like deferring, suggesting someone else, or simply being honest. I'd love to help, but I've committed to focusing on something important right now. That's not rude. That's wise. And here's where it gets really transformative. Essentialism isn't just a mindset, it's a lifestyle. It shows up in how we design our day, our routines, even our closets. Steve Jobs famously wore the same outfit every day to reduce decision fatigue. That's essentialism in action. Less clutter, fewer choices, more clarity. Greg shares how companies like Southwest Airlines became wildly successful, not by doing more, but by doing less better. They didn't offer meals or first class. They focused on being the most efficient, reliable, and low-cost airline. In a world full of airlines trying to be everything to everyone, Southwest thrived by being clear on who they were and what they offered. You see, essentialism is not about sacrifice. It's about strategy. It's not about missing out. It's about deliberately choosing what to go big on. That means protecting our time like it's our most valuable asset, because it is. Time is non-renewable. Every yes that's not essential is a silent thief of that time. Greg even talks about sleep. Yes, sleep. He calls it a priority, not a luxury. Burnout isn't a badge of honor. It's a sign of poor boundaries. Essentialists rest, reflect, and recharge, because that's how they show up for what matters. There's a deep psychological insight in this book that hits home. We fear missing out. But what we should really fear is being mediocre at everything because we're committed to nothing. Essentialism is the antidote to that fear. It's about trading the trivial many for the vital few. It's about going slow so you can go far. Greg invites us to apply essentialism not just at work, but in life, in parenting. For example, it's not about enroll your kid in 12 extracurriculars. It's about finding one or two that light them up and give them space to grow. In relationships, it's not about attending every social event. It's about showing up fully for the ones that count. In personal goals, it's not about a massive to-do list. It's about one meaningful pursuit that energizes you every day. And maybe that's the greatest gift of essentialism. It frees us from the guilt of not doing everything. It gives us permission to focus, to say no, to breathe, to be. Greg tells us, only once you give yourself permission to stop trying to do it all, to stop saying yes to everyone, can you make your highest contribution towards the things that really matter. So here's your challenge, and it's not complicated. Look at your life, your commitments, your routines. Ask yourself, what's essential? Then just as importantly, ask, what's not? And begin the courageous, liberating process of letting go. Because clarity isn't found in more, it's found in less. Thank you for listening to this summary of Essentialism by Greg McKeown. If this message resonated with you, please give it a like and share it with someone who needs more clarity and less chaos in their life. And don't forget to subscribe to Audiofybooks for more powerful book summaries delivered in a way that feels like a conversation with a close friend. Until next time, stay focused, stay light, and always remember, less but better.